Picture this. You're Rachel Reeves, Chancellor of the Exchequer, arguably one of the most powerful people in Britain, and you have just been banned from a pub in Bramley. Not for rowdy behaviour, not for starting a fight, not even for singing karaoke badly after one too many. No, you have been banned because the landlord thinks your budget is absolute rubbish and is destroying the very fabric of British community life. Welcome to 2026, where the nation's publicans are so fed up with government policy that they are literally putting politicians on the do not serve list. You absolutely cannot make this up. Quick favour, if you are loving this, hit that subscribe button. Over 94% of viewers have not yet. It is free, takes a second, and means the world to us. Thanks if you did. Now, back to the show. Let us talk about Maureen Loseby, because this woman is not holding back. She owns the Rock Inn in Bramley, and she's been running pubs in Leeds for 4 decades, 40 years. That means she's seen governments come and go, she's weathered recessions, she has survived pandemic lockdowns, she has dealt with every conceivable challenge the hospitality industry can throw at you. And after all that experience, all those years of dedication to her community, she has looked at Rachel Reeves's policies and said, right, that is it, you are barred. It is absolutely brilliant. It is the most British form of protest imaginable. Forget marches, forget petitions, forget strongly worded letters, just ban them from the local. Speaking to GB News, Loseby did not mince her words, and honestly, why should she? She's watching her livelihood circle the drain, whilst the government fiddles with policy tweaks that miss the point entirely. Her assessment of the Chancellor's approach? I just think that she's trying to finish off pubs altogether. I don't think they want people in pubs talking to each other, saying how bad things have got. Now that is quite the accusation, is it not? The suggestion that the government is deliberately strangling pubs because they're worried about what people might say over a pint. It sounds almost conspiratorial, except when you look at the actual impact of government policy on the hospitality sector, you start to wonder if she might have a point, intentional or not. Loseby then absolutely skewered the government's credibility with this gem. This government have not stood by what they offered in the mandates before they were elected. The Tories said that Maggie Thatcher was not for turning, while Rachel Reeves is just spinning. Oh, that is delicious, invoking Thatcher whilst simultaneously accusing Reeves of doing pirouettes instead of policy. That's the kind of political commentary that deserves a round of applause. It cuts right to the heart of the frustration so many people feel when politicians promise one thing on the campaign trail and deliver something completely different once they're in office. But here's where the story gets properly heartbreaking, because beyond the politics and the pointed barbs, there's a real human cost to all of this. The Rock Inn is not just a business, it's not just a place where people exchange money for beer. It has been a community hub for 40 years, 4 decades of being the place where locals gather, where friendships form, where life's joys and sorrows are shared over a drink. That's what pubs are in Britain. They're institutions, they're the beating heart of communities, and when they struggle, when they close, something irreplaceable is lost. Loseby explained the impact on her customers with devastating clarity. They can't afford to come out. I've still got the same customers, but once they used to come out twice, 3 times a week. Now they can only come out once or twice if they're lucky. They just can't afford to do it. Let that sink in. These are not people who have stopped caring about their local. These are not people who have found somewhere better to go. These are loyal customers who physically can't afford to maintain their usual routine because the cost of living has squeezed them so hard that even a couple of pints at the pub has become a luxury they have to budget for. She continued, painting a picture of the financial pressures crushing ordinary working people. All the bills they've got to pay, everything has gone up. Electric has gone up, gas has gone up, everything in the shops, price of food for them to pay. So I've got some customers who work, and they're the ones who are suffering. There it is. The people who work, who play by the rules, who contribute to society, are the ones being squeezed hardest. They're watching their disposable income evaporate, and one of the casualties is their ability to participate in the social life of their community. That's not just an economic problem, that's a social crisis. Now, let's talk about what Loseby needs from the government, because her requests are not unreasonable. She's not asking for handouts or special treatment. She's asking for help with the basics. We're struggling with electric. We're struggling with gas. You can't expect someone to come and sit in your pub and be cold. So I just want more help, whatever they can do, instead of giving our money away. The mention of heating is particularly poignant. Imagine running a business where you have to choose between keeping the lights on, keeping the building warm enough for customers to be comfortable, and actually turning a profit. That's the impossible equation so many hospitality businesses are trying to solve right now. Then Loseby ventured into territory that will resonate with many Britons, whilst making others uncomfortable. I'll help anybody, but all our money is going on to illegal people coming into the country and getting more than the people who already live here, and I don't agree with it. Now, whether you agree with that sentiment or not, it reflects a widespread feeling that the government's priorities are skewed. People see money being spent on various initiatives, whilst their own communities struggle, their own livelihoods suffer, and they ask legitimate questions about where the government's focus should be. But wait, because Labour apparently has another brilliant idea up their sleeve. They're proposing to extend opening hours for hospitality venues. Longer opening times, more hours to serve customers. Problem solved, right? Wrong. Spectacularly wrong. Loseby's response to this proposal is absolutely perfect. Extending hours is a stupid idea, because if they can't afford to come for the hours that we've got, why would you want to extend them? That's not going to help us. It's such obvious logic that you wonder how it escaped the policymakers. If people can't afford to come to the pub during normal hours because they're broke, giving them more hours to not afford coming to the pub doesn't solve anything. It just increases the running costs for the business whilst serving the same number of customers spread over more time. It's like telling someone who's struggling to afford groceries that you're opening the supermarket for longer hours. That's lovely, but it doesn't put more money in their pocket to actually buy anything. This is policy making that sounds good in a press release, but completely misses the fundamental problem. It's all sizzle and no sausage, as they say. Reflecting on how much has changed, Loseby painted a grim picture. Even just in the last 5 years, it's changed so much. This is my third pub in Leeds, but I've been in this one, this year coming up 40 years, and the difference is unbelievable. It's sad. People used to be coming in and having a laugh, and everybody who seems to be coming in now are all upset about what's happening in the country. That's genuinely tragic. A pub is supposed to be a place of joy, of laughter, of escape from daily worries. When the landlord with 40 years of experience says the atmosphere has fundamentally changed, that people are coming in upset and anxious rather than happy and relaxed, that tells you something profound about the state of the nation.
Now, here is where the government apparently realizes they might have made a tiny error in judgment. GB News reports that Rachel Reeves is gearing up to dial back the business rate relief for the hospitality industry. But wait, plot twist. The relief is expected to be extended in a bid to assist locally loved pubs up and down the nation. So which is it? Dialing back or extending? This is the kind of confusing messaging that makes people's heads spin. Are they helping or hurting? Are they fixing the problem or making it worse? The lack of clarity is almost as frustrating as the policies themselves. Businesses across the country are now waiting for confirmation of what the government actually plans to do. They are in limbo, unable to plan properly, unable to make informed decisions about their future because they do not know what the tax landscape will look like. Industry groups are saying any announcement must recognize the scale of the pressures facing the high street. That seems like a reasonable request. Acknowledge reality, understand the crisis, act accordingly. Enter stage left Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch, who has absolutely no intention of letting this opportunity pass without landing a few political punches. Speaking to GB News last week, she said Labour MPs have come back from Christmas break where they were banned from every single pub in the country, and they suddenly realised that people do not like them. That is why they are pushing for this U-turn. That is delightfully cheeky. The image of Labour MPs returning from Christmas to discover they are persona non grata in pubs nationwide is almost too perfect. Sorry, mate, Chancellor's orders has apparently become a legitimate reason to refuse service. Badenoch did not stop there. Conservatives saw this as soon as it happened. Remember my budget speech and I talked about how Rachel had done absolutely nothing for pubs? Well, the chickens have come home to roost. Now, we can debate whether the Conservatives have any moral authority to criticize Labour's handling of the hospitality sector, given their own track record in government. But the point stands that this was a predictable disaster. Industry experts warned what would happen. Publicans warned what would happen. The opposition warned what would happen. And it happened. The chickens have indeed come home to roost, and they are sitting at the bar demanding someone explain why their local is about to close. The broader context here is important. Britain is in the middle of a cost of living crisis that shows no signs of ending. Energy bills remain stubbornly high, food prices have increased dramatically, wages have not kept pace with inflation. People are making impossible choices between heating and eating, between paying rent and buying necessities. In this environment, asking them to also shoulder increased costs for their occasional social outings is a bridge too far. For businesses like the Rock Inn, the squeeze is coming from both directions. Customers have less money to spend, so revenue drops. Meanwhile, operating costs keep climbing. Energy bills, supply costs, wages, business rates, everything is more expensive. The profit margin gets thinner and thinner until it disappears entirely, and then you're running a business at a loss, which is obviously unsustainable. Something has to give, and usually what gives is the business itself. It closes. Another empty building on the high street, another community hub lost forever. The pub industry has been sounding alarm bells for years. Pubs are closing at an alarming rate. Some estimates suggest dozens close every week. Each closure represents jobs lost, communities weakened, social infrastructure destroyed. And it is not just the economic impact. There's a genuine social cost when pubs disappear. For many people, especially older people or those living alone, the pub is their primary social outlet.